you know. You can climb up the ladder of success and power and everything, at the same time have your children. Well, again, I'll get into when I get more into the feminist movement. No, the second shift. There's I forget her name right now, but it's a book called The Second Shift. She's like, no, this is actually oppressing women much more, trying to, you know, do all the work at home, because the men aren't really, you know, some of them are stepping up a little bit, but they're still not taking all of the slack. So you got to do all the work that you had before at home, plus your office work. And it's burning these women out. And you're not doing a good job. I mean, we can see everything that I've been explaining. You're not doing a good job in the workplace. And, well, we'll see with your children. You little alpha dominance feminist. You threw all of this psychological testing in the courts, in the family courts and everything like that. Guess what? You're going to get burned by your own game. Once we get into all of that, we'll see how well you're raising your children. That's what is important. What we need, if we really want a feminist movement for women, women's rights and children's rights, you allow women to stay at home when their children are young, and then eventually get back into the workforce, which is what I tried to do. And I mean, I produced a company, all of these guys from their garages, all of the, you know, the Zuckerbergs and stuff like that. Well, I did it from not my garage, it was from my desk in my bedroom. Same thing, but since I'm a deposed trophy wife and my banker husband didn't want me working outside of the home, well, I'm screwed. You know, this is your equality and democracy and justice for all and all that crap that you're out there with. So, the having it all, I want these ladies to prove it. And prove it in court. So, Lagarde, she's going to have to prove that everything that she's been doing in you know, her career is good. And then we'll start looking at her children. Sharmini Corey, same situation. Kalpana Kochar, start preparing yourselves, you guys. Gina Paoni, Adrian Thapa, oh God, her poor children. Anna Day, she just has one child, and we'll see what's going on there, huh? Elizabeth Elliott, thank the Lord, praise be the Lord. That woman never had children. Huh, that would have been a disaster. Carla Culati, oh, she was always telling me about her daughter's attention deficit, you know, disorder stuff. I'm like, of course, with a mother like this, of course the poor child doesn't have any, you know, can't. This is something that you develop in children. I'll get later on with Dr. Spock, the book that I have there. It's building blocks with young children, and it takes time. It takes enormous amount of time. But at the end of the day, it's worth it. And it's the most rewarding job you could ever do in the entire world, I promise you. I've done a lot of jobs, but raising children, good children, you know, who have a moral compass and a blueprint, like Martin Luther King was saying in my last thing. You know, a blueprint, and it doesn't have to be a blueprint to become, you know, some power-hungry person. A blueprint that you know, if you're no Einstein and you know, you are good with your hands or something like that, that's fine. They're perfectly respectable jobs and jobs that we need. You know, we need to stop getting all of these people you know, who don't have the mental capacity, don't have the intelligence to you know, have a PhD or an MBA and understand all of these concepts and how it applies to real life. So let's see, then there's, Jocelyn von der Hagen. Oh, this is one of my favorite. Because Carla Culati and Jocelyn von der Hagen, before I left ICD, I mean, those ladies were working me. Oh, how they were working me. Because they wanted, Carla Culati was angling for the job of office manager from Adrian Thapa. So she wanted me to get rid of Adrian Thapa for that. And Jocelyn Vanderhagen just wanted to get rid of Adrienne so the bullying and all of the problems and the mismanagement would stop. And also Elizabeth Elliott. Believe me, you can talk to the catering people, the IT people, anybody. This woman was there for over 30 years. So there's lots of witnesses of all of the I mean, that was just, I mean, you talk about your cackling hens, and you talk about her father was a professor at GW. And I mean, you talk about, just producing idiots. I remember with one of my best friends in Colombia. She's a psychiatrist now, and her it's with children, and she does it through storytelling. When she was doing her dissertation work and everything like that, I sent her The Little Engine That Could, Curious George. I mean, I scanned it and emailed it to her, and all of these different books and everything. And she was like, "This is great." I'm like, "Yes, this dope up a child? No, you and you need to work with parents," because I kept on saying to Pia, her name is Pia, that, but Pia, I've never met a problem child. I've only met children with problem parents. And so, you need to address the problem with the parents and everything. And this is also by setting the example. And all of these women who are going into, I mean, I got a whole slew of names, all of these women, I'm going to go into the workforce, I'm going to workforce. Well, this is why the expat women's club, like FACO and stuff like that, are filled, and the IMF Family Association, the World Bank Family Network, filled with a bunch of social climbing little witches who just want to, get invited to the parties, be part of the ruling elite. Well, guess what, ladies? And all of you spouses at the IMF, World Bank, UN, and all of the think tanks and everything like that. Oh, you want to be part of the ruling elite of the United States and of Washington? Well, guess what? With privilege comes obligation. And if you're covering up from stuff because you're too busy at your country club trying to find out, your newest conquest of the tennis pro, or getting invited to some of the parties and your luncheons and all of that crap, guess what? I didn't know is not going to be a defense. Because first off, I've been sending you letters, so you have no excuse there, and you have no defense. I was just doing my job is not a defense. So Jocelyn, my other thing with Jocelyn was, I was putting together the workplace bullying report. It's a 150-page report and everything. And for these two ladies, go. And I said, well, Jocelyn, because she's French, and she actually worked at the French embassy, consulate, which also, what about the stuff that you didn't do over there when you were supposed to at the consulate? And I said, could you please, rewrite my letter to the French ambassador in Madrid? Because my French, I struggled enough putting everything together for my case in Spain in Spanish. And I had tried to start in French, but I couldn't. And my French is much more difficult to write than Spanish. And writing a language is not the same as speaking it. And so anyway, my Spanish is it is what it is, but the French I recognized, and I did the one letter to the ambassador, and I basically, in the letter, I said everything that I said to the American embassy, ditto for you guys, because it was beyond my capabilities to do it. So I said, could you please put together this letter, rewrite it in proper French, not. She said, you should be ashamed of yourself for having written the ambassador like that, and I'm too busy to do something like that. I'm like, wait a second, you guys are crying to me. I'm putting together a 150-page report. I'm going to put my neck on the line. Yeah, I'm going after these people. She's pissed off because I wasn't able to, wave a magic wand and clear up all of the problems. The least you can do, I think it was a 2-3 page, which is short for me. Oh, no, I'm too busy. Doing what? Sitting there scratching your ass? Then we've got Amel Yu and Catherine Indri Nelson. Oh, Lord. So after I get ousted by Adrian Thapa because of my activism work and stuff like that, and she got pissed off because I did not kiss her ass, and Kate Phillips jumped on board with that one. It gets into an altercation I had about, because the thing is restaurants are public places. You cannot, for example, not allow somebody to use the bathroom or anything like that. In the 80s, I even remember one of the managers said, no, we'd have a lawsuit the next day if you didn't let them use the bathroom. Everybody knows where that is now. So anyway, I get ousted and all of that stuff. Everybody's been complaining to me for years the problems in ICD. I'm going to take it on. They know about my activism work. They know I'm working on a new civil rights movement in the United States, and exactly why they all want to marginalize and shut me up and everything like that, because I am challenging everything that they're promoting. Which, they should be in the same bed with me instead of my enemy. It's like, you guys, it's like with Trump. Shut up, because you just keep on throwing me more evidence and more evidence. So then I go, and I have to admit, I was pissed off. I was already pissed off because I had spent the morning at DC Landlord Tenant Court. This was in 2016. This is October 2016. So I'm already, that court started in July 2016. And again, one of the security guards, when I went in there one time, and I'm going through the x-ray machine and everything like that, he said to me, because I said, I'm so sick and tired of all the games in this town. And he said, oh lady, don't come around here, that's all they do. That's when I told him. I said, sir, I'm going to the international courts and I'm taking their asses, all of them. He said, good for you. See, there are people in these in the government agencies and everything that see it, that know what's going on. And they're tired of it just like everybody else. And we can finally get everybody into court. I know they'll get up on the stand and be very, very happy to sing like a canary. But we got to get them into court. See, this is why people are flipping out. They have no justice, no recourse under the law. And again, this gets back into my last presentation. This is what Prohibition did. This is what the war on drugs has done. So we got to get rid of, see, just say no to the new Jim Crow. Just say no to the war on drugs. You get me up on Capitol Hill and you give me a voice, and I promise, anybody gives me flack, I'll break them over the frickin' coals like you can't believe. So anyway, I go into, this was for the annual meetings 2016. I go in, I had registered and everything like that, and this Amel Yu, who, believe me, I would have been calling Child Protection Services after I saw the crap when she had her children in there on Parent Day or something like that. I was like, oh my God, these poor children. What a control freak mom. And so anyway, she starts giving me attitude. Like, what are you doing here? You have to be an NGO. You have to be a civil service person or something like that. I'm like, excuse me? I've been working on this for 12 years. You don't know about everything that I'm working on? I mean, this woman is a little Miss Tuffet, who's, little Miss Muffet, who sits on her tuffet. Believe me, she thinks that she's some kind of queen. Oh, God. And this is the typical person that you have in there. So she's in there, and I said, what the hell? So she's like, no, I don't have it registered here. I don't have it. You got to. And I said, well, my computer's on the blink. It's all the way across town, and everything like that. So I'm getting pissed off at her attitude. I mean, who the hell? See, this is another thing. These civil servants need to understand that they work for us. You go in, and they treat you like they're the scum of the earth, and you better kiss their ass in order to give the paper that is rightfully yours. What is it? Montesquieu? No, it's not that. It's a street in Madrid. I'd have to Google it. Oh, but it's too funny. It's one of these places where everybody has to go for their paperwork, and you got to get in line at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it closes at 12. You got to get in there before that, and I mean, you want to see proof that the dictatorship of Franco is alive and well? You just go to that place. Oh my God, we would sit there, people in line who'd been there before, we would make jokes. Because one time one person got pissed off, they grabbed him and they threw him out. You're not allowed to dissent at all. And these ladies are the same thing. And I was like, you little so-and-so, you work for me. I may have to put up with your shit when I'm working in the ICD or I'm working at the IMF because I'm an employee and I gotta, whatever. Because I can't find a lawyer to go up against them. However, the second I walk out of the office, even when I'm working there, the second I walk out of the office, I'm a free agent. And you work for me. I don't care if you're Christine Lagarde, head of the IMF, or head of whatever. I don't care if you're, head of whatever. I guess the only person here wouldn't be God. But, if you're on this earth, and particularly you work in a government agency, and I don't care the highest, you still answer to me. Because I represent the 90% of the people, which you guys are screwing over. So I was pissed off. So then this Catherine Indri Nelson jumps into the ball game. And I'm telling her, I'm like, you little ladies, you better get your shit together. And I promise, on Monday, when I come in here, because this was the Friday, I said, on Monday, when I come in here for my badge, you better have it, no issue. You know what? Monday when I went in, they had the frickin' security people usher me out and blacklisted me from the meetings. And I've been blacklisted ever since. And I just looked at the lady and I was like, okay, I'm not going to argue because I was already disgusted of going what I saw at the spring 2016 meetings. All they do is parties. You can't imagine how much money of taxpayers' money is being paid, is being dished out for these people to schmooze and cruise and wine and dine and parties and these performances and all of this elaborate stuff. Just so people can jet set around the world, have their extramarital affairs, and pass out business cards. So I'm like, I couldn't care about going to your stupid meetings. But you ladies just upped the ante. I mean, before you're looking at labor rights violations for ICD and, whatever. But you two ladies just threw the entire department into, election meddling, U.S. election meddling, and interfering in the American political process. Because they know what I'm doing. They know about all of my work. If they don't, they're really brain dead, which is probably the problem. And you people are you're gonna think you're gonna get away with this? I mean, the problem is, why haven't I found lawyers to go after them? I mean, everybody's off about the Russian meddling and everything in the U.S. elections. If these people had given me a voice, we wouldn't be here now. I promise you. Because I was campaigning. You can see, here. This is blacklisting from IMF World Bank meetings is coup d'etat by IMF ICD department in favor of Trump, vote Clinton. I was marching up and down like I promised them. I said, you little idiots think that you're going to blacklist me from that? I will be marching up and down Pennsylvania Avenue during the entire week of the meetings. And I did. And what was incredible was the CSO reps, who came from all over, some of them who I'd seen at the spring meeting, none of them talked to me. Like, well, lady, what are you doing out here with the banner? I even saw one lady and I said, oh, hi. Oh my God. She ran away from me like I had the plague. I was like, what's your problem? with a banner. Obviously, I'm pissed off at them. I mean, I see something like that, and I go over to the person and I say, what's all this about? What are you doing? Instead of, oh God, no, I gotta go away. See, this is the problem. All of those CSO reps and everything like that, they started letting them in a couple of years ago because they were having so many demonstrations on the street. So they let them in. It shocked them up because they're just happy to get invited to all the parties and have their hotels paid for by their NGOs in all of their different countries. It's all one big con job. One huge con job. So anyway, since then I've been blacklisted, and I'm like, well, I couldn't care less, but I keep on, every time I keep on, applying. Well, obviously they're not, now with the lockdown, they didn't have anybody in spring, but I keep on applying and applying to document how they're blacklisting me. And I'm like, you people, this is interfering. Not only did you interfere in the U.S. elections in 2016, you are also help to maintain Trump in power. And this isn't influencing that. This is political interference within the at a national level. You cannot do that. There's a lot of things that you can do, but interfere with this election process or presidential process or something like that, that's really big shit. And this is why it's important also to hire people with brains. Most of these ladies, because but it is men as well, they've been there for 20 years, 30 years, they're old guard, they got in, through their cronyism and stuff like that, and they've been all consolidating their power bases within the organization in order to keep those jobs. Because most of them, were typists and stuff like that. This Adrienne Thapa, her claim to fame is typing 75 words a minute. I mean, believe me, if they had given me the job as office manager, I would have had that place cleaned up like that, just like I did with the IMF Family Association. And that's the problem. Nobody wants that in there. Everybody, because the problem is everybody, there's so many people who are complicit and so many people who are parasitic and parasites in there. They know, subconsciously, they're going to end up losing their job if this whole house of cards comes collapsing. So they all maintain it. I mean, oh my God, this really pissed me off because, 2015, I did my Financing for Development Summer Night Stream. And I had started, by this time, I'd already gone through all the capital venturists and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is just another scam. Window dressing and stuff like that to make us believe that we actually have access to investment money. But it's just the little, group of people at the top, like Mark Cuban is one of them. Jeffrey Hilton contacted me, and he said, what do you need, a CEO or a techie? And I said, either or both, because then I'd be able to get the... He's like, well, what do we need you for? Like, you ever hear about the marketing function? Say, nobody understands the marketing function. They're confusing sales with marketing. So anyway, let me go back to all of this. I mean, these girls are just out of control, and nobody has the brains or balls to stand up to them. Okay, then I already talked about Anne-Marie Slaughter, Phyllis Chesler. Now, Phyllis Chesler, and again, I'll go into her with the alpha dominance. She's one of these, big wig PhDs. I think she's got 18 books and counting. One book I'll be quoting from, Women's Inhumanity to Women. So she came, and I didn't know who she was at the time. I did my speech, Violence Against Women is Human Rights Violation, at the Battered Mothers Custody Conference in 2015, May 2015. And this is also why Adrienne Thapa was so freaking jealous of me and had to get rid of me. Because not only was I more competent than her as an office manager, but I also she was just jealous, like the girl who lived in the house. I'm the director of research. Get the hell out of here. I mean, the jealousy is just out of control. And you get intellectual property theft. I mean, that's considered the right of everybody. I mean, everybody does it, so why not? So anyway, I'm giving the speech, and 10 minutes into the speech or something, she gets up and walks out. She never talked to me. She never said boo to me about, like, what problem that she might have had with my presentation or anything that I was saying. I mean, this is the problem. It's all about self-promoting, giving speeches, selling your books, and making friends with everybody who agrees with you. I'll see that again with alpha dominance. So I think, I got another case here. When I got to the United States, my first job, 2009, well, actually it was the second. I worked in a restaurant for a little while. I'll get into him later on. So anyway, then I think I started in April 2009 at the IMF Family Association. Disaster. Just like Bogot, that guy, just like everything else. Disaster. Administratively, structurally, and everything like that. Frances McRae was the chair at the time. Her husband was the Canadian ED, and she's some, HR person. Once again, I saw the problems of HR. And Frances McRae's up a creek without a paddle, because she is responsible, because Aunt Beatrix did come in, and she should have made sure that she found somebody who was competent, instead of this little witch. And the entire, IMF Family Association board, I hold them responsible for everything that happened. So I get in there, clean the thing up. They all went home. They all, jet set across the world and go home to their families with their kids and everything like that. And I'm there for the summer. And I cleaned up, because the boxes and archives and papers, the place had never been, the administrative people had never done anything. The girl before me, I'm like, what the hell did this girl do? And Anne Beatrix Keller represented herself as the chair and wrote a letter of recommendation for this girl. Catalina Reyes, I think her name was. I mean, when I saw that in the files, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You aren't the chair, and this girl is a disaster. That's exactly why she got Anne Beatrix. I'm sure she made friends with Anne Beatrix, and why she got Anne Beatrix to write the letter. But that's fraud. I mean, they do it because they can get away with it. So I go in there, I clean everything up, I get a whole filing system in the computers, because there was no records. No records have been kept, since they went to the computer. And I saw Wanda Kalari doing this as well. So what their idea of keeping records is, you have, your emails, and they'll type in, the name of some, like, I don't know, Jane Doe, who they're looking for, and then whatever comes up. Well, a lot of times not everything comes up, and also you're doing that and you have to figure out and everything like that. No, you have it, you save it, even like with Outlook, you even have folders where you can put it all in. And you keep it organized like that. But this, it's like having a whole stack of papers, an old school, whole stack of papers, and then trying to go through every single frickin' paper to find the one that you need. That's why you have filing systems. Nobody understands anything about filing systems anymore in the administrative function. And this is what Patsy Geyer taught me. This goes back again. Patsy Geyer is the most efficient, most competent, one of the only people that I've ever had respect for in this town. In the over 20 years that I've been here. So, since I did such a fabulous job, of course, she took went to IMF HR, took the credit, and ousted me and said that I was a useless, person who was, charging overtime and doing stuff illegal. And I was furious. But see, the thing is that I'm like, wait a second. because I told her, I said, I need a letter of recommendation from you. Letter of recommendation was really good. So she's going to have some explaining to do. You remember with Lucille Ball and Ricardo? Explaining to do. So they ousted me. So I've got Wilcox versus IMFFA still pending. I got ousted in 2011. And I know everybody thinks statute of limitation, diplomatic immunity. Under Article 6, when you get into crimes against humanity, there is no statute of limitation. And when we get into RICO, you're not going to be able to call statute of limitation either. So, you guys, what you think is going to be your defense and what you think your defense is and what you think is protecting you, it's not. Let's see, I think I pretty much covered everything now. Oh, U.S. ruling elite. My former classmates from Foxcroft. I'll give you 2 examples. Well, actually, I'll give you a couple. So, first off, when I got into, my problems in Spain and everything, and the courts were raking me over the coals, I contacted Jennifer Shaw. Now, her father, Congressman Clay Shaw, from Republican from Florida, he was the author of the Missing Child Act, and which gave rise to the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who just got a $40 million, I can't remember what year it was, maybe 2011, $40 million, fund refunding from Congress. Might have been later than 2011. So, and I mean, I was on the phone with James Ryan in Tokyo, Jimmy Ryan case, X-Files on my war on domestic terrorism, and he's like, they're involved in human trafficking. I said, oh yeah, we already know that. All of the domestic violence people, we already know that. So anyway, she's like, no, she didn't want to get involved. Her father had left Washington and didn't know anybody. Actually, he had left Washington, I think, the year before. So there's he didn't know anybody. I also contacted former Senator Bennett Johnston asking, and again, I called because I get no response. I called his office, and his secretary hangs up on me. Oh, I also contacted Ann Pincus, the wife of Walter Pincus, from the Washington Post, because when I came to Washington in 1981 to work for the senator during my senior year of at Foxcroft, it was a mini term for a month, I had rented a room from Walter Pincus and Ann Pincus in their basement. Now this goes back to 81, but still I was like, okay, I need, if I can get the press so involved in this. I tried to get CNN Madrid to do something, but of course, ignore till she goes away. And so I said, he's going to kill me. And my children and everything like that. She was like, well, contact the Associated Press. Maybe somebody will pick it up. Then in 2016, I contacted her again. This was in regards to Sean Penn, the blogs I was doing in El Chapo Speak. And I tried to get